እንደሚታያል
No. Just I'm connecting to the live.
You can start. Go ahead. Bye.
Yeah, I have started, but it says preparing to live stream the meeting. Maybe can you check it?
Yeah, I think because we are recording, let's just go ahead and then I'll troubleshoot for you with Terence. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the September edition of TEACAST. We are excited to have you join us as we begin the journey toward TCON 2025, which will be held in the vibrant city of Addis Ababa from May 15th to 17th. Addis Awetus, be there. My name is Demelash Ondumageng, the current District 114 Program Quality Director for Toastmasters across East Africa. Before we get started, let's take a moment to appreciate an essential role in any successful conference, the convener. The convener is the leader who brings all the elements together, ensuring that the event not only meets, but exceeds expectation. And who better to guide us through this experience than our very own team? I'm honored to introduce ACB, ALB, Samroit Mogas, our conference convener, and Diani Wanja, our co-convener. ACB, ALB, Samroit Mogas is a dedicated mother, leader, and managing director with over 30 years of experience in managing companies within the tourism and agricultural sectors. She excels in staff coordination, overseeing more than 760 employees across 4 companies, recognized for significant contributions to generating hard currency in Ethiopia, and gifted at working with various groups of people. She is one of the founders of the Addis Ababa Toastmasters Club and a seasoned member of both Toastmasters and Rotary. Her contributions to these communities have been exceptional. ACB, ALB Samroit Mogas, could you please share your vision and plans for TCON 2025 with us?
Past District Governor Azeb Asrat, Past District Director DTM Anthony Wagandu, and audience, it is indeed a great pleasure to have you this evening with us. Ethiopia's hospitality awaits you for the upcoming conference, which will take place from May 15th to the 18th. The first night will be a welcoming cocktail, followed by Ethiopian nights that will allow you to dance. I know how Kenyans love dancing. So you will be amazed on the type of dance and music that you are going to see on the Ethiopian night. That will be followed by the gala night, so far we haven't yet decided, but I assure you that this upcoming conference will be one of the most exciting conference because it's taking in Addis the vibrant city, the diplomat city, and I'm sure you have witnessed the growth of the city by now. And on the 18th, we will arrange you a city tour of Addis with different sites. Then what more do you want? Back to you, DTM Damallash.
Thank you so much, ACBLB Samrawit Moges, our conference convener. Daniel Wanja is an independent language instructor whose work involves engaging with entrepreneurs, corporate leaders, government officials, and individuals from around the world who seek to communicate and influence effectively in English. At Toastmasters, hard work and commitment are recognized and rewarded. Diani's contribution to Toastmasters include serving in various roles, each bringing its own rewards. Past Vice President membership and President of Early Bird Toastmasters Club, past Area 12 Club Close Director and Area 11 Program Quality Director, Area 9 Past Director, Marketing and Production Manager for the Toastmasters East African Conference 2022. And her most cherished recognition, Toastmasters of the Year 2022. She believes that by saying yes to roles at work in Toastmasters, a world of opportunity has opened up. When we say yes, we are saying yes to service. Toastmaster Dan, could you please share your vision and plans for TCON 2025 with us?
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I am so excited more than anything that Toastmasters is in Addis Ababa. I have never been to Ethiopia. I've been saying every year that I will go to Addis, and I never do. So now I am in a position where I certainly plan to go, and I'm very excited about all the plans. Now we have a huge team working with us. And so I am absolutely 100% confident that this will be one of the best conferences that we have experienced so far in District 114. So stay tuned, and we all look forward to this. Back to you, PQD Demlish.
Thanks so much, Dan. Now, let's get right to it. I'll hand over to the person who will be leading this incredible conference, SCBLB Samrawit Moges. Over to you.
Please unmute. I can't hear her. Can you hear her?
No, Samrawit, you're on mute. Kindly unmute.
Samri, please unmute. We are not listening to you.
She probably can't hear us.
Okay, let me call her maybe.
All right.
Her line says it is busy. So how are we going to get into her?
Oh, okay. PQD Demolish, kindly advise.
Yes. Yeah, Danny, you can start, but let me reach out to her.
Okay, then I will continue for now. I think she's unmuting.
She has a problem, I think.
Yes. All right. Maybe Azab, maybe PDG Azab, you can just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a bit more about who PDG Azab is, and just to get to know you a little bit more and become familiar with you. Welcome, PDG.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to really say thank you for allowing me to be with you tonight. And what a choice of location, what a choice of convener, I must say. Addis, Ethiopia, the cradle of mankind, awaits your arrival. What would I say? Because the experience I had convening a DCA in Ethiopia was extraordinary. And still to date, people remember the time that they spent in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So what I would say is that you're welcome, most welcome to come to Addis. Just to introduce you about myself, my name is Azeb Asrat Haile Mariam, and I am the past district governor for Rotary District 9212. And, I've been in Rotary for the last 11 years. But before coming to Rotary, I served in the United Nations World Food Program for 28 years, of which the major part of my career has been in leadership, in program advisory, in policy, coordination and advisory as well. So I am who I am today because of the experience that I captured over the years, that I was able to really give my services to Rotary as a full-time volunteer for the past 11 years. So I don't do work, I don't do anything except sharing my experience, sharing my knowledge, especially focusing on the youth, on the new generation. When I came back after 20 years to Ethiopia, serving as an international civil servant, the decision I made, Samri, now you are on. Can you hear us?
Yes, I do.
We didn't hear anything what you said.
It's very unfortunate.
So do you want to continue about Azeb?
Well, I would like to say that I want you to understand Rotary only accepted women only after 1989. And past district governor Azeb is the first female president for district 9212 that covers Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Southern Sudan. At the same time, past district governor Azeb Asrat get the highest leadership within only 9 years. For Rotary, 9 years means nothing. And she is a lifetime volunteer. She believes and supports the growth of young people and passionate about the leadership taking over of this youth. So for us, past district governor is an icon in many, many ways. And I'm proud to be a member of her club. At the same time, that I also served during her leadership as the district conference chair. Back to you, past district governor, or maybe Diane. Diane.
Yeah, she said it all. I have been married for 45 years with 3 children and 5 grandchildren. That is the conclusion. And, one thing that I like about being passionate about volunteerism is that when I was with the World Food Program, I was a peer support volunteer, serving the international and local staff who face some professional or personal problems. So I am also a trained peer support volunteer. So here we are. If there is anything we can add on later. Thank you. Thank you, Samri. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Wow. This is amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Samri. This is amazing, PDG Azeb, because 11 years at Rotary, and you worked with WFP and the United Nations with 3 kids and 5 grandchildren and married for 45 years. You are certainly superwoman, and I think I'll come for tips from you. I only have 2 daughters and no grandchildren, and I'm wondering how I'm coping. So I'm wondering how to cope. So I'm coming to you for advice there. So thank you. And this, let me quickly introduce DTM Anthony. DTM Anthony Wangondu is a corporate executive working for a regional multinational company in the water and energy space. He's being modest by not saying where he works. His current role entails supporting teams in 9 countries, a role he relishes as it involves developing leaders, traveling, and working with numbers. DTM Anthony has been a member of Toastmasters for 15 years and has been a member of SEMA Toastmasters from the beginning. He doesn't shy away from saying that. He is a distinguished Toastmaster under the traditional education program. Now, being a distinguished Toastmaster is the highest level of education in the path, or rather in the Toastmasters curriculum. And he's now a few projects away from getting his second DTM. He's becoming a distinguished Toastmaster for the second time. He has held many leadership positions in District 114, including being the District Director for the 2021-2022 program year. DTM Anthony's belief is that what Africa needs most is to rise to its rightful position at the table of the world with respectful leaders that have real integrity, a heart for service, as well as an overwhelming desire for excellence in everything they do. These are Toastmasters' values, and the Pathways process is best suited for producing an army of such leaders. And I can say for a fact, after knowing DTM Anthony for a long time, this is what he embodies himself as a person. So DTM Anthony, welcome, and just say hello to everybody.
Thank you, Diane, and good evening to PDG Azeb, Samrawit, and of course our PQD Demelash. It's a pleasure to be here and to be in your company talking about the long-awaited conference in Addis Ababa. I was in Addis, I think it was the year before last. I love being in Addis. It's a lovely city, lovely people. The food is fabulous, and I cannot wait to be back in May for another. I hope I'm planning to stay a week for another wonderful week at the conference.
Thank you. Thank you so much, DTM Anthony. Back to you, Samrawit. Samrawit, can you hear us?
She's frozen.
I think she's frozen. Okay, then kindly allow me to carry on with the program as we wait for Samrawit to unfreeze. Okay. Oh,
I have,
Samarit, can you hear us?
okay.
You have
I have
unfrozen.
been,
Fantastic.
yeah, I
Carry
have
on.
been in Rotary more than 15 years, but I haven't yet got the DTM, and it is a great inspiration to learn that you are running for the second one. Now I'll go to the question that goes to both of you. First, I'll ask to throw this question to past district governor Azeb. Past district governor Azeb, what motivated you to take on leadership roles within Rotary, and how has your leadership style evolved over the years? Past district governor Azeb.
Thank you very much, Samrawit. I'm so glad to be here to share my experience. Leadership, to begin with, is a choice. It's not by appointment or only by appointment, but it must come from the inner part of your heart to take on leadership positions. Of course, I mean, when I came to Rotary as a member, I came with long years of professional career and service as both as leader, as team member, as implementer and policy advisor, and so on. So, one program being, having a wing of different, roles in humanitarian activities, in development interventions, as well as in policy development and others, I was really lucky to work my leadership to come up to that level, starting from a junior position. When you start as a junior person, then you learn and you have a lot to learn from. So there were role models for me. There were really excellent supervisors who guided me, and I had to listen. I had to see them seriously. And I was also lucky, without any fear, to take on some of their qualities into my hands. So as a result, my growth in the World Food Program was also fast in a situation where competition is very high. So what was needed was to prove myself over and over again as an African, as a female, and as also coming from a local university. I came from Addis. I was born, I was raised, I was everything in Addis, and I was competing with people who were coming from Harvard University. So this is where dedication, commitment, and being ready, to take any roles, it becomes very, very effective. So during my year in Rotary, the first time I came into Rotary, I had to take on just a member, but helping on projects. And the projects were very interesting because they were changing lives, they were touching people's lives, they were so down to the grassroots level. And the people that we were really targeting were the ones who needed really help. It was not about, a choice. It was about, a life and death situation in some situations, conditions. So therefore, those projects really attracted me to be working on. While I was sitting in board meetings without being a board member, I was learning a lot from what was the interest that Rotary had. So I had to adjust and adapt to the situation, and started, taking more roles within Rotary. So I became the treasurer for 2 years. And after 2 years, I became a president. After being a president, I became a country chair for Rotary Ethiopia. And after that, after like 2 years of a gap, I became a district governor for Rotary District 9212. My district is the best district, I can tell you, because I'm sure that my seniors are also watching today. And the person I became after I took that role as a district governor is amazing. Still today, I said, thank God that I took that role and I served. Do you know that in Kenya, out of 141 clubs, I visited 138 clubs? And I really wanted to show them a role model that I was. And that really helped. Many people started coming to me to say that, they want to be mentored by me. So that was the feedback that really put me in the effective role that I was. I was a servant leader. I was a team player. I wanted everyone to be engaged and to participate. So that made things very practical. Thank you.
Thank you very much, past District Governor Azib. In fact, this is why I call the iconic lady. I am in her club and I know her journey, and I'm glad you shared it in a very explicit way, sharing your experience. May I go to DTM Anthony? DTM Anthony, I will give you the same question. What motivates you to take on a leadership role within Toastmaster, and how has your leadership style evolved over the years? DTM Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, Samrawat, and a very good question, because I came into leadership pure almost by accident, if I may say so. From when I was in high school, in college, I found myself a reluctant leader. I would find myself in situations where leadership was needed, nobody was willing to step up, and almost reluctantly, I would then say, all right, here I am. And when I joined my club SEMA, well, way back in 2009, I was not prepared to take any position of leadership until the lady I was supporting, who was one of the executive committee members, suddenly resigned, and I found myself taking up her position. And then I started learning that Toastmasters or any volunteer organization tends to be very different from what you find out in the corporate world. It is more about giving of yourself, of serving, of lifting others. And I realized that I really enjoyed this. And so when elections came around, I offered myself for the next position and the next position. And the more I took on these roles, the more I learned what leadership truly is. Now, how has leadership changed my style of leadership, you ask? When I took my first position, my focus was on results. My first position, I think, was vice president for membership. And I really wanted to fill my club with members. And the only thing I wanted was those numbers. I wasn't interested in anything else. And I did succeed that year. I think we had 24 people join our club during the year I was vice president for membership. But then I realized that there is much more than leadership than results. And most importantly, the people. And today, when I look at leadership, I see it as, how can I help somebody else become a servant leader, to see other people, to see himself as serving other people as we uplift one another. Now, in the corporate world, that sounds a little bit strange, but I'm finding that at my job, when I seek to help others become better, we get a better result. I do not have to chase them to perform. We don't have to do the silly little things about, did you come on time? Have you finished this project? It's more about them wanting to become better than they are as they serve others. So what I would say that I've really taken out of Toastmasters leadership is the fact that you serve others so that they can become better. And that way you impact, whether it's a project, whether it is your job, whether it's somebody in the community, you impact that person with much more quality than when you're just chasing a result or just numbers. Back to you,
Thank
Samra.
thank you very much, DTM Anthony. You know, when I think of Toastmaster, as you say, those who join Toastmaster very easily, you know, grab the leadership because of Toastmaster, especially the youth. So this is, you are a role model for many, because we see who and how DTM Anthony has reached this stage. So now, my second question goes to DTM Past District Governor Azir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Past District Governor Azir, this also, DTM Anthony, you will also have this question later on. I want to know, you know, there is a similarity structure between Rotary and Toastmaster. And Toastmaster is not affiliated with Rotary. What can be done to see more collaboration between Rotary and Toastmaster within our two districts? What role can you play, Past District Governor Azir?
Thank you very much, Samra. This is a very interesting subject, which my club, with guidance and support of Samrawit, that we wanted to really link Rotary and Toastmasters, so that we can really see the possibility of both working at the same time. First of all, the starting point for Toastmasters and Rotary is the higher level memorandum of understanding signed between the two presidents at that level about 3-4 years ago. So, but we have been very, very slow, I must say. So this year, we decided, my club president, thanks to my club president and past president Samrawit, we decided, to bring in the youth more to work with us. Because, we started really thinking about the future. What are we going to do? Now, many of us, when we really go into retirement, then what are we going to do? Unless we prepare our youth to take on that responsibility from us. So we decided, let's have a Toastmasters session within the club fellowship. So we had 2 sessions, and the Toastmaster team took us through the whole strategy and procedure of what Toastmaster really offers. There is so much interest in the youth, let me tell you. So much interest, but there are some concerns as well about membership and the payment attached to Toastmasters and so on and so forth. So we are now, since we have started already bringing in Toastmasters to talk to us, and also they come and listen to us what we do. There will be some really thin line only that we will come very, very soon together to join hands and to have Rotary working on, being part of Toastmasters, and Toastmasters also being part of Rotary. So what we have to do is to do a little bit of a strategy on how we can sponsor Toastmasters, to become, the youth to become Toastmasters. Because with Toastmaster, what I see is, one is leadership. The other one is communication. The other is public speaking. In most instances, we Ethiopians, at least I can tell you, we are not like Kenyans. We are shy to talk, even to introduce ourselves. We are very, very shy. So how are we going to change that? It's only through Toastmasters. If we can speak really correct, even if it is not correctly, because it's not our mother tongue, after all, English is. But if we can introduce ourselves, if we can be confident, to stand and face an audience, that by itself is another thing. So I'm sure many are attending today. My call to Rotarians is that we need to bring Toastmaster closer to us so we work together in tandem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, PDG. Azeb, you are absolutely right. We need to bring Toastmasters and Rotary together. I have been to a few Rotary meetings, and my thought was Rotarians definitely need Toastmasters when it comes to public speaking and communication. I did notice that. But I also noticed that Toastmasters also need to learn to go outside themselves and offer themselves to the world. That is not something that Toastmasters really do. We don't go out there and change lives beyond our Toastmasters lives. And so I believe there's definitely a lot that we can learn from each other. I completely agree. Thank you for that, PDG Azeb. And this is also for you, Anthony, from the Toastmasters end. I know we have a collaboration called STARS. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. And what are we not doing? What should we do so that we make this collaboration real? Most of us know that STARS exists, that there's a collaboration, but it's not tangible. We can't feel it on the Toastmasters end. So what can we do to ensure it's tangible, it's in our faces, and how can we plug in easily?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Diane. First and foremost, I must start by saying that I'm a great admirer of Rotary. They have over 130 clubs in Kenya, and they're in even the smallest towns out there in the countryside. When we're starting a new club in a new city, at least during my tenure and since then, our first port of call is a Rotary Club. Just as an example, we are going to visit Nanyuki Toastmasters Club with Diane in the next few days. And most, if not all of the members of that proposed club are Rotarians. We find that Rotarians are the easiest group to connect with wherever we go. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Rotarians are very vocal. Whenever you go for their meetings, I think it's the way it's set up. You'll find they're ready to tell you what they do, what business they're in, and how you can connect. And that makes it easy for Toastmasters to say, well, we want to set up a club in this town. Would you be willing to be a member? However, as Diane says, we're not being very strategic about this approach, because we do get people who say, yes, I'm interested, but the follow-up is not as good as we would love. The second thing, of course, is what you mentioned, and that is the financial outlay. When one individual looks at the subs they would have to pay as a Rotarian, then the subs they would have to pay as a Toastmaster, it becomes a fairly substantial amount of money. And it is something we can work around in terms of payment plans, in terms of sponsors and things like that, to ensure that we encourage both Toastmasters to join Rotary and Rotarians to join Toastmasters, because there is benefit in both organizations. Rotarians are actually changing people's lives, and we are developing leaders to change people's lives. So we must work together. We always say whenever we have a club meeting that what happens in the four walls of the meeting must impact what's happening out there. You learn how to speak better. You learn how to lead better. Let's see that happening in your company, in your community, in your family. And one of the easiest communities to have that impact is in Rotary. So if all Toastmasters are to join Rotary, I would only be happier for it. If all Rotarians are to join Toastmasters, I think it will be a plus for all members as it were. So this organization that we started, and I must say to you, Diane, it is at the moment sort of in abeyance, was to try and have those members who are already Rotarians and Toastmasters to attract more members to either organization. And now that you brought it up, I think it's time for us to invigorate it, to rejuvenate it, to give it some fire so that we can keep our links together. Like I said at the beginning, whenever you go out of Nairobi into the other towns, most Toastmasters tend to be Rotarians. For me, that is a beautiful alliance already.
Oh, wonderful. I didn't know that. I didn't know that when you go into the little towns that you will find that most Toastmasters are Rotarians as well. This is very, very refreshing. Thank you for that. Samrawit, I can see that you're back. Welcome back. We have just talked about...
Yes, I'm back.
Good, because we have just finished talking about what can be done in terms of collaboration between Rotary and Toastmasters. Yes. So now we are... Yeah, we are about to go into talking about impact and legacy. Would you like to lead that, Samrawit?
You mean the feasibility? Yes.
The impact and legacy, yes. Or I can run with that if that's okay, and then you can join in when you're settled.
Yes, yes. Yes, continue.
All right. All right. So this is a question for you, PDG Azab. What would you consider your most significant achievement throughout your tenure as district governor of Rotary?
First of all, thank you for this very important, I hope I will do justice to your question. One thing is 11 years of voluntary work is not something I consider very easy. Because, in fact, I said, God, when I was earning that fat salary in the UN, did I do what I did when I was a volunteer? I can tell you, I've worked hours and hours and hours, 24 hours, sometimes only 3 hours of, sleeping, but the rest working. But I don't complain because I inspired, I encouraged the youth, especially the women, to join Rotary and to also come up to the leadership position. Because, one thing is, in life, we need role models. I may not be a good role model, but probably I can inspire, some who'd like to be me. I'm not shying away from that because the many years of experience in the UN and the voluntary work that I did in Rotary allowed me to stand straight with confidence and say that you can be me. There is nothing to be fearful about. If you try, you can be. That's why I said leadership is a choice rather than appointment for me. Because when you only choose that you can lead, and you not only lead, I'm not talking about followers, but if we can develop leaders while we lead, that's where the benefit will come. So in my years as in my year as a governor, by the way, even if it is a 1-year assignment, it's a 3 years dedicated service, because you have to go around with your senior DGs, to learn how things are and to see the gaps in order to fill in those gaps when you become a full-fledged district governor. So that really was for me an inspiration. And I am, even today, many of them get in touch with me when they want some advice from me. You know, that is also another thing. When you finish your term, you are not forgotten. Even if you are past, you're not forgotten. But people come to you to say that you were doing this way. How did you do it? Now I have a challenge in leadership. How can I get into the problem without any, gaps left unattended? So in that case, I have inspired the youth during my presidential, term in my club. I was the first one in the whole wide world that I inducted young Rotaractors to have dual membership within our group. That was the first of its kind. So me, as a senior person, as an old person, what I would like to give as a legacy is an impact by building up the youth, and to be sure that next, leadership will be in the hands of the youth. So as my club trainer this year, all the trainings are directly targeting the youth. So that was part of the training, also what we did in by bringing in Toastmasters. So that is, I think, for me, the legacy that I would be talking. And I continue to be a motivational speaker as well on leadership, on communication, on public speaking. So even if I'm not a Toastmaster, Samrawi tried her best, to bring me in. But I did not. But I tell you, I feel like I'm a Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, PDG Azeb. As far as we are concerned, you are a Toastmaster. Thank you. So you inspired the youth, inducted a lot of young Rotaractors. That is a huge legacy to have, because the youth are the next leaders. So there is nothing as good as that, inducting selfless youth into Rotaract, into Rotary clubs, so that they can serve. Thank you for that. What about you, Anthony? Yes?
One point I would like to add is, for me, the other most important interest I have is building female leadership, empowering women and girls. These are the most important aspect, because sometimes we seem to be forgetting that. During my district governorship, I can tell you that many of my directors were female and youth. That was it. That was really a good mark. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Actually, at Toastmasters, I'm not sure of the numbers, but I know in my club, for example, we are about 25 at the moment. We only have 7 men. And so it's a challenge when it comes to men, but women all over Kenya are really into self-development, and I love it. I love it. So thank you, PDG Azeb, even for pushing that agenda. On to you, Anthony. What, in your tenure as district director, what would you consider your biggest achievement? And while on it, maybe you can talk about some of the challenges that you faced while at it.
Interesting question. The year when I was district director passed in a flash. I could not. It was July, then it was June. It passed so fast. But the theme that we had running in my year was every member matters, and the focus here was that we want you, the member, to see yourself as valuable, not just a number in a club, but somebody who we cared for, who we want to develop, who will be a leader in the future. And we invested a lot of time, a lot of our money into training. When we set up a really strong training unit at that time, and I'm happy to see that subsequently all the district directors who've come after have really appointed strong people to run what we call TLI, the Toastmaster Leadership Institute, that is responsible for training. Why do I think this is important? Developing leaders is not something that you do like a shot in the arm. And I was very happy to hear Azeb saying that she appointed deliberately young people and women to be leaders, because that is a first step. Put them in the position, and then over time, they will become leaders. I want to add on to that you do not become a leader accidentally. It has to be a deliberate process. And for me, I think my legacy, I hope, is that putting to the front of everybody's mind that we are here to make leaders for Africa, because Africa truly and seriously matters. If you look around us, I don't know about Ethiopia, but certainly in Kenya, if you look around Kenya and many of the other East African nations, the leadership is absolutely abject. And the reason for that is because there's a lack of integrity, there's a lack of servant leadership, there's a lack of excellence. When I was just coming home from work, I was just appalled that our street lights don't work. And therefore, it means the rest of us waste our time instead of getting home orderly. And what does that reflect? A lack of leadership. If we continue churning out leaders, not worrying about whether they're going to be leaders tomorrow or the day after, but eventually, and when they are there, they'll be leaders of integrity, they'll be leaders who pursue excellence, we are going to change Africa. Because Africa in the past has been a leader-driven region. We went through a dark period, and I think we're emerging from it. At the moment, what we lack, in my humble opinion, is leaders worthy of the potential of our continent. So my legacy, I hope, is that belief that we're developing leaders for Africa.
Thank you. Sorry, I was struggling to unmute there for a moment. Thank you so much, DTM Anthony. A lack of servant leadership, a lack of integrity, a lack of excellence is the reason Africa has been lagging behind. And you're right, we are coming out of the dark period that we had been facing for a long time. And this is what really excites me, especially with the younger generation, our children at the moment. They are bringing us out of that, but it's up to us to help them lead from a point of servant leadership, from a point of integrity, from a point of excellence, where we can have street lights on the road. I agree. It really annoys me. I don't understand how a city like Nairobi does not have street lights. Even when you're driving along the, what do we call it? The diplomatic zone, like we like to call it, where we have a lot of embassies and no streetlights. I've never understood that. So yes, you're absolutely right. We do need leaders with a bit of integrity. Thank you, DTM Anthony. I think I'll pass this on to Samrawit. Samrawit, would you, I can see time is not so much on our side. Should we give it one more question and give the audience a chance to ask questions afterwards? What do you think? We can't hear you, Samrawit. You might need to unmute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are running out of time. What I would like to ask you about your experience in service, DTM Anthony, what were some of the most significant challenge and rewards of your work in your respective organization, and how did those experiences shape your approach to leadership? DTM Anthony.
Thank you, Samrawat, for that question. Leadership in a volunteer organization is very different from, for example, corporate leadership. When we work in corporate, if somebody does not perform, you replace them. In fact, we have very, very technical terms for it. We separate from them and we onboard somebody else. In a volunteer organization, that is not the way it works. The people who volunteer are the people you need to work with. And it can be very frustrating because you can come up with a beautiful program and assign roles, make them clear, ensure that everybody understands, and then boom, that person is no longer available. And you have to work with that situation. And it has happened very, very many times, from when I was club president to area director to division director, even as district director. And the one thing that I have learned is to be able to step in the gap when required in a volunteer situation. You need to give of yourself much more than you would, say, for example, in a corporate situation. Let me give an example. If you go into a club meeting and the sergeant at arms is not available, he has not told anyone he's not coming, we don't know whether he'll eventually come, somebody needs to step into that role. And therefore, as president, as division director, as district director, there is no shame in rolling up your sleeves and getting stuck in getting the room organized, making sure that we are ready for a meeting. That is the one thing I have learned as a leader in a volunteer organization, that leadership means service, that not everybody will read in, understand, execute your vision, and you have to sometimes lead by example. And for me, actually, it stopped being a frustration. It used to be a great frustration for me at the beginning, and now it is more an aspect of an opportunity to be of service to those around me. And I'm finding, surprisingly, when I apply these same principles in the corporate environment, that you even have a greater impact as a leader, as rather than giving orders and snapping your fingers. So what we are learning as leaders in a volunteer organization is much bigger, much broader than not having been a leader as part of Toastmasters.
Indeed. Thank you very much, DTM Anthony. Yes, Toastmaster, the structure of Toastmaster and Rotary is the same in many, many ways. And what we are learning as in a volunteer organization can be also implemented in the corporate. But the leadership within the volunteer organization is a bit challenging because you are dealing with volunteers. Those volunteers are not always in the same standards giving the service, but the leaders, as you said, need to lead by example. And I believe the affiliation of Toastmaster and Rotary can create a great avenue for creating leaders within our continent. As you said earlier, what lacks Africa is leaders with integrity, leaders leading by example. So I believe both Toastmaster and Rotary can, pave the avenue to create such leaders. Before we end up the interview, I'd like to ask each one of you to give you a few minutes to cover what we haven't covered in our interview. I'll start with Anthony. You are on the stage, so please add if anything that you would like to share to the audience. And consecutively, I ask PDG Asif to do the same thing. Then we'll go to question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samarwit. And I think the one thing that I would like to mention, that I would like to bring to the fore, is the connections you make as a member of Toastmasters or even as a member of Rotary. Each time you come for a meeting, you meet different kinds of people of high rank in society, all the way down to students just beginning their journey as young adults. And these connections change your life, and you can also impact their lives. And there is such power in networking and connecting than we actually do realize. That is something that I truly relish and look forward to when I go for my own club meeting, or when I'm visiting another club, or even once in a while when I pop into a Rotary Club meeting. The conference is a huge opportunity for networking. You're not going to be there with somebody for just 3, 4, 5 minutes. You have an opportunity to spend an hour discussing things of mutual interest. During the last conference that we had in Mombasa last year in May, I have made connections with people from Ethiopia, from Uganda, and from Tanzania who otherwise I would never have been able to connect with. And what has happened as a result? One of the ladies I met in Tanzania, we are doing a joint CSR activity in Tanzania with her company, which is absolutely fabulous. A gentleman I met in Tanzania was able to introduce a colleague of mine in Addis to a business partner. And in Uganda, I'll be visiting Uganda soon, and I already have a friend who's going to show me around the city, all from the connections and the networking conference.
Okay.
I am looking forward to the next conference as a result of that impact.
Thank you very much, DTM Anthony. Past District Governor Azeb?
Earlier on, as I mentioned, when Samrawit had some difficulties with the network, what a choice of location to come to Ethiopia, and what a choice of a convener like past President Samrawit. Samrawit was the chair of the district conference, which we held in Addis 2 years ago, in 2023. That was an amazing experience. To date, Rotary International is asking, what more can we do in order to come to Addis again? So my advice, let me just, conclude by saying advice, because don't, hammer on Toastmaster issues over and over again. Give people a chance to interact, to go out and see and learn about the history of Ethiopia, to go out and see projects that really reflect on community-based interventions, so that people can really think so much about after even they leave. I remember that some clubs in Nairobi had an agenda after the convention, the conference, and they were asking, even if we have a Kenyan DG, can we have the DCA in Ethiopia? So that was a big feedback, an impactful feedback. So let's work on the youth, on women. Let's strengthen our collaboration between the two institutions, Toastmasters and Rotary, so that we can build our new generation as we come forward. So that's the only remark that I would like to make. But thank you so much for organizing this and for listening to us. So, as I said, full-time volunteer never sleeps. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Past District Governor Azeb, as well as DTM Anthony, for being with us now. Diani will read if there is any question that she came across the chat box. Diani?
I don't see any questions, but we can give everybody a chance to ask a question. Does anyone have a question at this point for either PDG Azeb or for DTM Anthony?
Yeah, please raise your hand and we'll give you a chance for the question.
And if you're very shy, you're most welcome to write in the chat as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you, I'm sure you have enjoyed both the presence of both DTM Anthony and past District Governor Azeb. We have learned a lot from their experience, and I'm sure there must be something that you want to make a remark or a question. Audience?
As the audience is taking time to think, I do have a question. All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is, I think this is mostly for DTM Anthony, but I think it can work both ways. Anthony, we talked about stars earlier, and you said it's possibly a good time to start it again, right? Now, we wouldn't know where to start because we don't know much about stars. Where can we start? Because I think it's very important that we have Toastmasters in Rotary so that we can serve the communities around us, and vice versa. It's very important for Rotarians to join Toastmasters so that they can improve their public speaking and leadership and communication skills. Where do we start right now where we are? What's the next step so that we can strengthen this relationship?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Diane. STARS was basically Toastmasters and Rotary. It was about people who are both members in Rotary and Toastmasters. And we started this at SEMA Toastmasters, where we discovered we had about 5 or 6 members who are Rotarians and Toastmasters, to our own surprise. And what we then did is organized for joint meetings. And we had, I think it was about 3 joint meetings in Nairobi, where we visited the nearest Rotary club, presented. In fact, in one of the Rotary clubs, we had a very interesting innovation. We had a mini Toastmasters meeting within their meeting. And they were very amused by the art counter, the person, hitting the glass whenever somebody used a post feeler. They were very pleased to use the word of the day. And I think we had a very good impact. As a result of that meeting, we had, I think, 3 or 4 members of that club attend our club meeting. And we ended up, I think, with 2 of them joining our club. The reverse was also true. We had a couple of our members become Rotarians because they said, here is the outlet for me to serve in the community. I think the problem is that we tend to be unaware of the benefits or what happens within our various clubs. And the way to do it is to throw the doors open. And what I would suggest, the way I would like us to start is maybe with our division directors organizing regular joint meetings so that our members get a chance to look inside a Rotary meeting and realize these are excellent. These are very nice people doing good work out in community. I would like to join them. Plus, they like to have a lot of fun and throw a lot of parties. And they would also be able to look into Toastmasters and say, wow, this is an opportunity for me to improve my skills as a leader and as a public speaker. We need to open our doors to one another, but do it more deliberately. What I would suggest, Diane, now that you brought it up, is I will contact the STARS leadership who are all in SEMA and ask them to get a hold of our division directors and start a program, have a calendar of joint meetings. And especially if I tell them that they might get new members, and I'm sure they'll be motivated to do that. Because the more our members have a peek inside Rotary, the more they're aware of the great things that Rotary is doing out there, the more they'll be interested in Rotary, and vice versa. Back to you, Diane.
Thank you. I agree with that. I like the part for parties. But yes, I completely agree with you regarding having joint meetings. I think that would help. I think also what might help, because, humans are very visual, might be maybe taking trips with Rotarians to the projects that they've done, because that would actually be very inspiring, visual, real, tangible, you know. So if there's a project that has been done somewhere in a town, you know, maybe a borehole has been dug and now that little town has water, it would be good to go with a Rotary Club together with a Toastmasters Club. Let's go. Let's see the work that has been done. Let's get inspired more beyond the meeting setup. I think we could also arrange for that. I think that would be amazing. I know they also have been seeing a lot of tree planting going on. So it would be good to just have these activities done together with Rotary. So thank you, Anthony. You have made a commitment to contact the STARS leadership. We will wait to hear from you regarding that. I think it should be an agenda in TCON. Yeah. All right. Anyone else with a question, Samrawit, or anyone else in the audience?
I just want to share an experience what we did with regarding Toastmaster and Rotary in our club. What we did was we had a demonstration within the Rotary Club of Addis Ababa West, where we had a full meeting of Toastmaster within the club to show what and how Toastmaster meeting is conducted. And at the same time, Rotarians also, mainly the participants were Rotaracts, the young Rotaracts and Interacts. So at the same time, there was a possibility for the Rotarian to sponsor Rotaracts or Interact for the membership in Toastmaster. But your idea of, because Rotary is always with projects. Rotary cannot exist without projects. So the visiting, this is an excellent idea, Dan, that we need to take Toastmasters where Rotaracts are having a project. Rotary is having a project. It is an outing, and this will definitely make a connection. Earlier, DTM Anthony also said the network. What allows Rotary and Toastmaster is networking. Sometimes, you know, between Rotary and Toastmaster, when I think of something, will be Toastmaster or Rotary. So the advantage of having networking for anything is very vital, very vital. So network, as earlier mentioned, is one of the aspects of benefit that we get from Toastmaster and Rotary. Network at this age, at this time, is very important. I think we need to wrap up. I don't see any question. Do you see, Diane, any question?
No,
Remark?
there are no questions, meaning that PDG Azeb and DTM Anthony were very clear in all their points. Absolutely. Yes, very comprehensive.
Yeah. So thank you very, very much, past District Governor Azeb and DTM Anthony, for taking part in this session. And of course, hope to see you in the conference. DTM Anthony has promised that he'll come to Addis, and I assure you again and again, you will have an amazing time. Dan, you mentioned about the lack of street light in Nairobi. If you come to Addis, it might be the second Dubai now. I think PDG Azeb agrees with me. The city is the city of light. So you will have that kind of experience in Addis when you come.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I think there are some guests that we have here that I would like to recognize, if that's okay, Samrawit.
Yes.
Yes, Ken Agutu, we see you. Thank you for coming. Please say hello.
Good evening, everyone, and it's been a pleasure being here. Although my internet went on a walkabout sometime, I got thrown off, but I got the gist of what was happening, and I feel that we didn't market this enough. That's just me, and unless it was not meant for everybody, but if it was meant for everybody, I don't think the right information, the exact information you wanted, got to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Yes, you're absolutely right. We had a YouTube link that was supposed to be aired, or rather, that was sent, but it failed to work. And so the alternative was Zoom. And so the people in the Zoom meeting, I'm hoping that the meeting was recorded so that people can have a chance to listen to this meeting. Yeah, but I'm glad you came. Thank you very much. I also see quite a few other people that I recognize here. So if anyone would like to say hello, this is your time. Just say hi. Hi. Yes, please say hello to us.
Okay. For me, it's good morning. For you, it's good evening. I am not in my country, Ethiopia. I am IPP Zuleka from Club West, Club Addis Ababa West. I want to say thank you very much to all. I really appreciate PDG Azeb and Feli Anthony. We learn a lot. Really, I learned a lot today. That is a very good thing that Samra brought up. I would like to say thank you to Samra. You cannot believe Samra, since we know her, since I know her, and since we were together in Rotary, every time that's what she's saying. Sulika, you have to join Toastmaster. To all of us, not only to me, to everybody. You cannot believe. And now that, you cannot believe now when I heard that Pipi Azeb, Diana, and Anthony, everybody was giving us a very good lesson. Thanks to Samrai preparing this meeting. Thank you very much. And we will continue. Thank you, Azeb.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
President, immediate past President Zuleka. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I was really heartwarmed.
Yeah,
Thank
when
you.
I was master, I said I have to to try to join.
Yes.
You should.
Thank you. And goodbye. And everybody, thank you to everybody.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much. All right.
So I
So,
think-
Samrawit?
Yeah, I think next time we will be in a better position to distribute the communication link. For those of you who took part, in particular our distinguished guests, past district governor Azeb and DTM Anthony, it was a great pleasure having you this evening, and at the same time sharing your experience and wisdom. We have learned a lot, and I have no doubt you'll be with us with the conference that's going to take place in Addis. And my sincere gratitude to both of you. Thank you so much. Back to you,
Thank
Diane,
you.
if there is anything that you want to add.
No, I have nothing to add, just to say thank you from me as well. And I also want to thank each of the guests for being here. We appreciate each one of you. Thank you, PDG Azeb. Thank you, DTM Anthony. See you soon. And bye for
Thank
now.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.